Try to make sure the balance is right. Jab, 2 times, and like this. Then I start going this way, jab. It's like, it's always gonna be somebody older than somebody in this life. You're never gonna be the youngest and you're never gonna be the oldest. And so you have an example on both sides that, you know, if you don't pay attention and you don't know you well, can you do it?
Mike Tyson is 58 years old and training like he's about to destroy the most untouchable boxer in history. And what nobody's telling you is that this isn't just some money grab exhibition. This is Iron Mike's final chance to prove something that's been eating at him for decades. While everyone's calling this a circus, Tyson is in training camp absorbing every piece of wisdom from Evander Holyfield like his life depends on it. Yeah, the same Tysons whose ear he bit off. Now Holyfield is coaching him, teaching him footwork, sharing championship secrets, and helping him prepare for what could be the most watched combat sports event in years. The irony is insane, but the dedication Tyson is showing is absolutely terrifying.
Here, then you step to the right, and you just try to make a complete circle. And it's just all about making the circle, and go back here, just warm it.
Here's where it gets wild. Tyson isn't just going through the motions in these training sessions. He's moving with speed that shouldn't be possible for someone pushing 60. His footwork is sharp, his combinations are crisp, and when he hits the heavy bag, you can hear the impact echo through the entire gym. Tyson-Holyfield is standing ringside, calling out instructions, and Tyson is following every command with the discipline of a young fighter trying to make his name. The sweat is flying, his focus is laser sharp, and everyone in that camp knows they're witnessing something special. This isn't an old man trying to recapture glory. This is a legend who never really left, just waiting for the right moment to remind the world who he really is.
It's about your legs and your posture. Your posture straight and making sure you got a good midsection. You got to tighten that stomach up. And that's what a lot of times people don't understand.
But here's what's really driving Tyson crazy. Evander keeps telling him that fighting at this age isn't as dangerous as people think, but courage is what makes the fight real. Fear only exists if you allow it to control you. And Holyfield, who built his entire career on being the most feared man on the planet, is using that philosophy to push himself beyond what anyone thought possible. Tyson sees something in Holyfield that the media doesn't want to talk about. The fire is still there. The killer instinct never left. Once a champion, always a champion, and that unstoppable spirit is burning brighter than it has in years. Evander knows because he felt Tyson's power firsthand, multiple times, and he's telling anyone who will listen that people are underestimating what Iron Mike can still do.
If you allow yourself to do that, it's up to me to allow myself to be afraid. I'm talking about at any given time, anything. Whether I know how to do it or not. You know, the Bible said, fear not. It's up to you to fear. That's a choice. It's not that you have to, but in a situation, when it comes down, when you really want to do something real well, you know, fear is just right there, like that, ready to catch you if you heed to it. When you're young, you make mistakes, and when you're older, you make mistakes. Sometimes people forget about when you get older. But you know, you have a choice to make. You know, it's a choice you have to make, and you have to be honest with yourself. When honesty comes from yourself, then you ain't gonna do nothing to prove a lot of people.
And get this, Gene Kilroy, the legendary trainer who worked with Muhammad Ali, is now in Tyson's corner, firing him up during every training session. This man who watched Ali become the greatest of all time is now pouring that same energy into Tyson, boosting his confidence, pushing him harder than trainers half his age. When Tyson is working the heavy bag, Kilroy is right there praising his strength, urging more intensity, building belief, and fueling an ambition that most people thought died years ago. The combination of Holyfield's technical guidance and Kilroy's motivational genius is creating something dangerous. Tyson is lifting heavy dumbbells, building explosive power, and his endurance is improving every single day. The man is transforming his body at an age when most people are worried about their retirement plans.
Theater that Corbett, Mike, he's like, Yeah, such as he said the right name. I was like, God, I could never get him. Yeah, I could never get him.
Now listen to this part. Tyson genuinely believes he's still the best heavyweight who ever lived. He's entering this fight with Floyd Mayweather with fearless confidence and an unshaken champion mindset that's honestly frightening to witness. While everyone else is talking about his age, his limitations, and how this is just entertainment, Tyson is preparing like this is the most important fight of his entire career. And maybe it is. Because if he can land one clean shot on Mayweather, if he can show that heavyweight power still exists in that 58-year-old body, it changes everything we think we know about combat sports, aging, and what's possible when a true legend refuses to accept limitations.
Only champ. You ain't got nothing to look to. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my turn now. How about that? That's what ultimately, when you say the world champ, you don't want to send somebody else across the street say, I'm the champ too. I ain't worried he can say he's the world champ.
Here's where the story gets absolutely fascinating. Daniel Cormier, the former UFC champion who knows a thing or two about elite-level combat sports, recently broke down why this matchup is capturing so much attention. He's highlighting the dramatic physical differences between these two legends, and the numbers are staggering. Tyson built his legacy as a heavyweight powerhouse, walking around at over 220 pounds of pure muscle and bad intentions. Mayweather developed his greatness across much lighter divisions, starting his professional journey around 130 pounds and never operating anywhere near heavyweight territory, even when he moved up in weight classes. We're talking about a size difference that shouldn't exist in any legitimate sporting competition, but that's exactly what makes this so compelling.
Nice one, Mike. Nice one, Mike. That's the best one, coach. That's the best one, coach. Hey, push on. Isso, that's it. What a shot. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Look where your left hook is when you finish, Mike.
But wait, it gets even more interesting. Cormier explained that the physical disparity is just the beginning. This matchup pits refined technical brilliance against natural heavyweight power in a way we've never seen before. One fighter built his reputation on overwhelming opponents with explosive force that ended fights in seconds. The other constructed a legacy through precision, timing, and defensive intelligence that frustrated the best fighters in the world for over 2 decades. Their professional journeys developed under completely different conditions, shaped by separate generations of competition and contrasting styles of opposition. Tyson rose to fame through knockouts that stunned audiences and made grown men afraid to step in the ring with him. Mayweather mastered control and ring awareness to outthink rivals and retire undefeated. That stylistic divide, combined with the physical differences, creates genuine intrigue that keeps fans debating how these contrasting strengths might actually collide when the bell rings.
How old you are, it's how old you feel.
I don't feel what the word old. I don't feel that.
No. Well, you're smart going into the new wave.
No, it's always the old wave. It's always this.
Yeah.
I could do all this stuff and not have this and that.
Yeah, that's what you need. The will determine the skill.
Yeah.
The story of success is be around successful people.
I don't believe that.
No. What can you lose? What can you win from a loser?
Huh? You can learn how not to lose.
Huh?
You can learn how not to lose.
Okay, you learn how not to lose,
Yeah.
but you don't. You don't.
You get more out of losing than you do out of winning.
Okay, you're my friend.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a heart operation.
Yeah.
But there's a good guy's going to operate on me. Nice guy, nice guy. But there's another guy's who did 20 operations. Who are you going to recommend?
Hold up. While criticism often surrounds high-profile exhibition bouts featuring retired champions, there's a perspective that most people aren't considering. Many observers are adopting a more sympathetic viewpoint, arguing that seasoned fighters stepping back into the spotlight aren't diminishing their legacy, but exercising their freedom to benefit from decades of sacrifice and discipline that combat sports demanded from them. Think about it. These athletes gave their entire lives to this sport, often beginning training in childhood and continuing through years of punishing competition that destroyed their bodies and consumed their youth. Professional careers in fighting are typically short compared to other professions, and the window to earn substantial income at the highest level can close in an instant due to age, injury, or shifting promotional landscapes that leave even legends forgotten.
20 seconds.
And then the end. It's just like that.
You did more workouts than what I seen you than the whole time you fought Lennox Lewis. Am I right or wrong?
Different era, brother.
There's a whole new ball game. I'm proud of you, Mike.
And here's the kicker. If recognizable names can still generate interest and draw massive audiences in a controlled exhibition setting, supporters argue it's a practical business decision rather than a desperate attempt to stay relevant. There's also an argument rooted in personal autonomy that makes perfect sense. Veteran athletes understand the risks better than anyone, having endured rigorous training camps and championship pressure throughout their entire lives. They know exactly what participation entails, they've calculated the dangers, and they're making informed decisions about their own bodies and careers. For many, these exhibitions represent celebration, financial security, and a final opportunity to connect with fans who supported their journey through the highs and lows. When you look at it from that angle, criticizing fighters for taking advantage of their legendary status seems almost unfair.
It's a war.
Only left the fuck alone.
You gotta really believe that. It's all I ever lived for. It's all I ever lived for. Doubt should be eliminated. You should be a doubt annihilator. My mentor told me, look, I love man. I want it all. I want it all. You be careful what you wish for. You kill people in the ring, you should kill doubt in your mind and in your soul and your heart.
Here's what nobody wants to talk about. One of the most compelling aspects of this upcoming exhibition is the reality of their ages, and the numbers are honestly shocking. Tyson is approaching 59 years old, while Mayweather is 48, placing both men far beyond the traditional prime years of professional fighters. In a sport where reflexes, stamina, and recovery speed literally determine who wins and loses, age naturally becomes the elephant in the room that everyone's thinking about but afraid to discuss. The physical demands of boxing are absolutely unforgiving. Speed slows over time, durability declines, reaction time increases, and the body requires longer recovery between intense exchanges. Although both athletes have maintained impressive conditioning that puts men half their age to shame, stepping into a ring always carries significant risk, especially at this stage of life when one mistake could have serious consequences.
I'll fight, I give you money. Are you f***ing crazy?
Only 12. That's all we want. To the middle. 1, 2, 3.
A little slow on the way down.
4. There we go. 9. One more.
Slow.
10. No problem. Great set. Best set yet. Final ring. Last one, Mike. Nice and strong. 30 times. Let you go. 1, 2. Here we go. 3, 4. Nice. 5. Yes, sir. 6, 7.
Strong.
8. Strong. 9. You got this.
We go.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go. 8, 9. One more. 10 up. Nice work, Mike. Yes, sir.
But here's where it gets crazy. The age gap exceeding a decade adds a fascinating dimension that raises questions about reflexes, overall conditioning, and the ability to sustain energy across multiple rounds under the bright lights and intense pressure. As fighters age, timing and reaction speed naturally decline, while endurance can fluctuate unpredictably. particularly when adrenaline is pumping and millions of people are watching every move. However, years of accumulated experience serve as a critical counterbalance that younger fighters simply don't possess. Decades spent developing ring intelligence, tactical awareness, and emotional composure in high-stakes situations can help mitigate some of the physical limitations that come with age. Despite these compensations, the advanced stage of both athletes' careers ensures this exhibition is much more than entertainment. It becomes a unique opportunity to observe resilience, adaptability, and longevity in action, offering fans a rare glimpse into how elite fighters manage the challenges of aging while still performing under the brightest lights in combat sports.
Was fighting at 154, and he was severely undersized at 154. Floyd Mayweather was a guy that fought in the 130s to start his career, and then fought up as high as 160 maybe. Floyd Mayweather was a small guy. He's now going to fight Mike Tyson, who is the heavyweight champion in the world. I respect these two men so great a degree that it's hard for me to almost make negative statements about them. But I think that our job as talking heads is to tell you the truth, regardless of how much you admire someone or the applause and adulation you have for them. You got to tell them the truth. I don't get this. I don't get this for the life of me, because by all...
Now here's where some people are getting heated. Combat sports commentator Wade Plemons recently shared strong concerns about this proposed exhibition, and his arguments are sparking serious debate in the boxing community. He argued that comparisons between Tyson and Muhammad Ali can feel disrespectful, especially since Tyson himself has always shown deep admiration for Ali and never placed himself above the greatest heavyweight of all time. Plemons emphasized that these icons competed in completely different eras with different competition, making any fantasy matchup comparisons unrealistic and potentially damaging to their legacies. His perspective represents a growing concern among purists who believe that some legends should be left untouched by modern exhibition culture that prioritizes entertainment over sporting integrity.
Life on track, has a great wife that helps him manage all those things, made a boatload of money to fight Jake Paul last year. It's not a money play. Floyd, I saw a thing this morning, him talking about keeping his money clean, stuffing hundreds of thousands of dollars in a plastic bag. These guys don't need money. A lot of times when you get these great champions fighting well past their prime, it's to make cash. We see it a lot. These two don't seem to need the money. So I don't understand the need to do this. When talked about it, Mike Tyson said, I still can't believe Floyd wants to really do this. It's going to be detrimental to his health, but he wants to do it. So it's signed and it's happening. Hey.
Listen to this perspective, though. Plemons further explained that exhibitions without official weight limits or meaningful outcomes risk diminishing the legacy of legendary fighters in ways that can't be undone once the spectacle is over. Drawing from recent history, he referenced the bout between Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort under the Triller banner, noting how uncomfortable it was to watch a past champion compete far beyond his peak years against an opponent who was fresher and more prepared. In his view, such events allow younger or less accomplished opponents to claim victories that would never have occurred during a true prime versus prime scenario, essentially rewriting history in ways that disrespect what these legends accomplished during their actual careers. While Plemons acknowledges the financial motivations behind these spectacles and expresses understanding about fighters securing late career paydays, he maintains that legacy should sometimes outweigh profit. According to him, fans may ultimately feel disappointed watching aging legends move cautiously in what resembles a controlled sparring session, rather than the meaningful competition that made them famous in the first place.
Let them get their money. They're gonna make a lot of money. Mike Tyson makes the money to give to his kids. Floyd makes the money to show us, right? Let them make their money. Why not? It's an exhibition style. They got history. They don't like each other. They are two of the biggest imposing figures in boxing history. Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, and Muhammad Ali, right? So they gonna make a lot of money. A lot of people gonna tune in, and they gonna watch it. They don't like each other. So even though it's an exhibition style, you best believe it's not gonna count against their actual record, but it's a real fight. And Mike Tyson is not gonna hold back no punches like he did with Jake Paul.
So there you have it. Mike Tyson is training like a man possessed, surrounded by legends who believe he still has that championship fire, preparing for an exhibition that's dividing the combat sports world. On one side, you have people arguing this is a celebration of greatness and a smart business move. On the other, you have purists claiming it's dangerous to the legacies of both fighters. But here's what I think is really happening. This isn't just about money or entertainment. This is about two legends who refuse to let Father Time have the final word on their careers. Whether you love it or hate it, this exhibition is going to break viewership records and remind the world why these names still carry weight decades after their primes. So here's my question for you. Drop it in the comments. Do you think Tyson's age and power can overcome Mayweather's speed and technique? Or is this just a dangerous spectacle that should never happen? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really at stake in this matchup, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell because the combat sports world is about to get turned upside down. I'll see you in the next one.
This is gonna be a real fight. Once it's exhibition style, so it won't count against their box rec, and it's not sanctioned by a commission or any of that or that. But you best believe they're gonna wanna. So they're gonna make a lot of money, and it's gonna be entertaining because they don't like each other. There's bad blood. They're gonna let them fly, and neither one of them wants to go home saying they lost to the other one. Mike Tyson has been, making passes at trying to. He wanted to hit Floyd at the WBC convention. Remember that famous epic moment where he walks up past Floyd and he's receiving his belt and he just flinches at Floyd, and Floyd don't budge. You're just looking at him, right? Mike Tyson always say he a scared little man walking around with all the security. They don't like each other. It's bad.
But before you go anywhere, there's something absolutely crucial that most people are missing about this entire situation, and it's going to blow your mind. While everyone's debating whether this fight should happen, nobody's talking about the psychological warfare that's already begun behind the scenes. Sources close to Tyson's camp are revealing that Iron Mike has been studying Mayweather's fighting patterns obsessively, watching tape from every single one of Floyd's 50 professional victories. He's not just watching casually either. Tyson is breaking down Mayweather's defensive shell, identifying the split-second moments where Floyd drops his guard, and mapping out the exact positioning needed to land that one devastating shot that could change everything. The scary part? Tyson's team believes they've found patterns in Mayweather's movement that nobody else has ever exploited.
To be, though, is less so a fight promotion and more so rights holders. They hold the global rights to HBO World Championship Boxing and a number of other Comcast events. Basically, their business is they lease out the rights for footage to old fights to different networks or entities. So it is a bit weird to see them involved in a fight which I would have to assume the cost would be close to 9 figures to stage. It's just honestly puzzling, but seeing there's apparently more information about broadcast partnerships to come, I guess we'll see soon who else is in.
Here's what's really insane though. Floyd Mayweather, despite his public confidence and social media posts showing off his luxury lifestyle, has reportedly been asking his inner circle about Floyd's current punching power. Multiple gym sources are whispering that Mayweather has been working specifically on heavyweight-level defensive drills, practicing against sparring partners who are significantly larger and more powerful than anyone he's ever faced professionally. Think about that for a second. The man who retired undefeated, who never showed fear against anyone in his weight class, is apparently concerned enough about Tyson's power to completely alter his preparation routine. When a defensive genius like Mayweather starts changing his training approach after 2 decades of perfecting his system, you know this exhibition has become something much more serious than anyone anticipated.
Set the groundwork to show just how big an exhibition fight can truly be. Now, exhibitions are a thing we've seen throughout the history of boxing. It's nothing new. Even the great Ali ended up in odd exhibitions for big paydays. Yet what Paul Tyson showed is you can take a fighter like Tyson, who doesn't have much left to give, and whip up a promotion to make the public believe he's back in his prime, and as a result do some of the biggest numbers seen in the last decade. The quality of the fight itself doesn't matter because, hey, you're already watching. And at a guess, that's exactly what they're going to try to do here. In the press release, they didn't really talk about how great of a fight it's going to be, rather how robust their promotional campaign will be, with weekly premium storytelling, which, of course...
And get this bombshell information. Gene Kilroy, Ali's former trainer who's now working with Tyson, recently revealed in a private conversation that was later leaked that Tyson's punching power hasn't diminished as much as people think. According to Kilroy, when Tyson hits the heavy bag during training sessions, the impact measurements are still registering numbers that would be impressive for fighters in their 20s. We're talking about a 58-year-old man generating force that most current heavyweight contenders can't match on their best days. Kilroy explained that while Tyson's speed might have decreased slightly, his technique has actually improved because he's no longer relying purely on explosive athleticism. Instead, he's using perfect leverage, body positioning, and decades of muscle memory to create devastating power with less effort. That combination of experience and retained strength is what has everyone in the boxing world genuinely nervous about this matchup.
Outside of watching Mike Tyson walk to the ring and the idea that maybe he'll knock out the little guy in Floyd that Tyson for a long time didn't like. You know, for a long time called Floyd a small little angry man or a small little scared man because he couldn't walk his kids to school by himself, mainly because Floyd had, he kind of disrespected Muhammad Ali, who was Mike Tyson's favorite fighter and one that he would never put himself above. But Mike's 60 years old, and if there was a time for Mike to get him and knock him out or whatever, it never would have happened because they were in completely different weight classes and X, Y, Z. If you wanted to settle it outside of boxing, that's one thing, but now they're stepping into this exhibition. There's not going to be any weight classes, obviously, and there's not going to be really any winner to this, and I think we're all going to lose. I think us, the fans, are going to lose a big time because, again, I told you guys years ago that there is a certain brand of combat sports that does diminish fighters of the past, and it's the crossover scene.
But wait, there's more disturbing news coming out of Mayweather camp that nobody saw coming. Floyd's longtime nutritionist and conditioning coach have both expressed private concerns about the physical demands this exhibition might place on a fighter who built his entire career around controlling distance and avoiding punishment. Mayweather's defensive brilliance has always depended on his ability to make opponents miss by inches, using precise footwork and timing to stay just outside their range. However, Tyson's style has never been about technical precision or patient stalking. Iron Mike built his reputation on explosive, unpredictable attacks that close distance instantly and overwhelm opponents before they can establish their rhythm. For the first time in his career, Mayweather might face an opponent whose fighting approach is fundamentally designed to neutralize everything that made Floyd successful for over 2 decades.
My entire existence on YouTube, but I can still stand here and tell you that there are certain fights that just shouldn't happen. Evander Holyfield should not have been fighting Vitor Belfort on whatever that triad promotion was. I think it was on Triller, and he looked awful because he was in his 60s, and Vitor got to say he knocked down and knocked out Evander Holyfield. And everybody knows that in Evander Holyfield's prime, he would have done work to Vitor Belfort in boxing. Same with this right here. This never would have been a prime for prime matchup. It would have made no sense to have happened. But if it did, Mike Tyson at 215 pounds, should he land at all on Floyd Mayweather, was going to send him to a different stratosphere. Now, again, we understand the reasoning behind this, and I want both guys to get paid, but this is going to be sad. And this is why I said sometimes you need to preserve your legacy. And I know Floyd says, legacy don't pay my bills, and clearly he's got a lot to pay.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.
Now here's where this story takes a completely unexpected turn that's got the entire combat sports world buzzing. Dana White, the UFC president who knows a thing or two about promoting massive fights, recently made some shocking comments about this exhibition that reveal just how big this event could become. White admitted that the numbers being thrown around for potential pay-per-view buys are unlike anything he's seen in recent years, with early projections suggesting this could break every viewership record in combat sports history. But here's the kicker that nobody expected. White also revealed that several current UFC champions have been asking him about getting involved in similar exhibition matches, proving that this Tyson-Mayweather bout isn't just entertainment. It's potentially reshaping how we think about fighter careers and legacy matches. And listen to this absolutely wild development. Evander Holyfield, who's been helping Tyson prepare, recently admitted in an interview that working with Iron Mike again has been one of the most emotional experiences of his career. Holyfield explained that watching Tyson train with the same intensity and focus that made him the youngest heavyweight champion in history has brought back memories of their legendary rivalry from the 1990s. But here's what's really incredible. Holyfield said that Tyson's dedication to this exhibition has inspired him to consider his own return to high-profile competition. The man who was on the receiving end of Tyson's most infamous moment is now so impressed by Iron Mike's commitment that he's thinking about stepping back into the spotlight himself. That's the kind of influence Tyson's training camp is having on everyone who witnesses it firsthand. But here's the part that's going to shock you the most. Industry insiders are revealing that this exhibition has already generated more mainstream media attention than most legitimate championship fights receive in an entire promotional campaign. Major television networks that typically ignore combat sports are dedicating significant coverage to analyzing every aspect of this matchup. Celebrity endorsements are pouring in from actors, musicians, and athletes across different sports who are publicly choosing sides and making predictions. Social media engagement numbers are absolutely astronomical, with fight-related content generating millions of views within hours of being posted. This level of mainstream crossover appeal is exactly what combat sports has been desperately needing to reach new audiences and prove that boxing still has the power to capture global attention like no other sport. And here's something that's going to make you think twice about everything you thought you knew about this situation. Multiple former heavyweight champions have been quietly reaching out to Tyson's team, offering advice and expressing genuine excitement about seeing Iron Mike back in action. These aren't publicity stunts or social media posts designed for attention. We're talking about private phone calls and personal visits from legends who understand exactly what it means to carry the heavyweight crown and the pressure that comes with representing that legacy on a global stage. The fact that other champions are rallying around Tyson suggests this exhibition means something deeper to the boxing community than just entertainment or financial opportunity. So here's what's really happening behind all the noise and controversy. Mike Tyson isn't just training for an exhibition match. He's preparing for a moment that could redefine how we think about athletic longevity, competitive spirit, and what's possible when someone refuses to accept the limitations that society tries to place on them. Whether this turns out to be a masterpiece or a disaster, one thing is absolutely certain. The entire world will be watching, and that level of attention brings pressure that could either elevate both fighters to legendary status or expose the harsh realities of time and age in the most public way possible. The stakes couldn't be higher, the preparation couldn't be more intense, and the outcome couldn't be more unpredictable. This is why combat sports will always be the ultimate test of human will, determination, and the refusal to go quietly into the night.